In 2014, we were talking about Virat Kohli and his struggles in England against Jimmy Anderson and so many of the fast bowlers and how he's going to counter that. Only if we knew 10 years down the line, we're going to talk about him trying to play against spin and his ability of playing spin and how that might just determine how long his career is going to last. Since 2020, there's been a drastic change in the way Virat Kohli plays spin. There's also been a drastic change in the way spinners bowl to Virat Kohli, but we'll come to all of that before we talk a little bit about stats and the evidence that suggests that his game has dropped to a new low in terms of playing spin. Since 2020 in the IPL, he strikes at 113 against spinners at a dot ball percentage of almost 30, which is just mediocre for someone especially like Virat Kohli. And now some might argue that it's the IPL and it's T20 and it's a format that he no longer plays. So let's talk more about the 50 over format and a little bit of test cricket, shall we? We're going to compare the old Virat Kohli to the now Virat Kohli. And when I say the old Virat Kohli, I'm talking about 2017, 18, 19 cumulatively and 2021, 22, 23. These are the 2-year brackets. Now in the first year bracket against all spinners in test matches, he averaged 95, whereas in the last 3 years, he's only averaged 30, and this is way less than his overall average against all kind of spin in test matches, which is 57, which means there is a real problem in red ball format. But it doesn't stop there. Even in ODI cricket, in fact, in 2017, 18, 19, he averaged 133 against spin, whereas in the last 3 years he's averaged 49, and overall he has an average of 68 against spin, which means the last 3 years has really taken a huge dip in terms of his average and the amount of runs he scores against spin. Now we'll put out averages against all different kinds of spin, left arm, right arm, wrist spinners and everything, but there is also a real problem. It's not only the fact that he isn't scoring enough runs, it's the strike rate that's also the problem. He's not able to score the amount of runs in a certain number of balls. He's not able to break free. And this can be seen in so many of the statistics where in ODI cricket, and this is all kinds of spinners, his overall strike rate is 92.6, whereas in 2022 it was 79, almost 80, and in 2023 he did improve 85. He did have a sort of okay 92 strike rate in 2021, but it was only 3 matches anyway, so I don't think that should give a lot of positivity. And then we come to wrist spinners, which is talked about so much, and this is again ODI format. He has an overall strike rate of 102, and in terms of strike rate he's been okay, 95, 98 and even 100, but his averages are so poor, 34, 48, when his cumulative average is 70. And then we come to another interesting aspect, because this is just wrist spinners. Now something that's bothered Virat Kohli over the years, and especially the last number of years, is wrist spinners and left arm spinners. So when we look at left arm spinners closely, he has a total average of 88 in the ODI format, whereas in the last 3 years it's been 81, 75 and 71. Clearly shows that he struggled to score against the left arm spinners, and this has been a trend overall in the last so many years of Virat Kohli's life. And to know the why, a lot of people are talking about statistics, we are talking about the numbers as well, but to know the why was very, very interesting. Now before we get into it, a lot of batters over the years toned down. They take a certain shape and bat the way they want to. Sachin Tendulkar, the Virat Kohlis, the Rohit Sharmas, they've all batted a certain way beginning of their career, and by the end of it you can see a drastic change. It's always a big change because a batter over the years gets more experience, scores a lot of runs, and then they know the kind of style they want to play. And sometimes batters just stick with it, which has worked for Virat Kohli over the years. It was very surprising to see Virat Kohli in this IPL when he scored those runs against Gujarat Titans, to talk about it in the press conference of how it's just a bit problematic if he thinks it's not a problem that he needs to work on. Right, so what is the problem? Like, why is he finding it so difficult to play spin after so many years of playing spin? And this is where things get a little interesting. Like I said, batters take a certain form, they tone down the game by the end of their career, which also means sometimes the number of shots that they have also diminish. Virat Kohli has all the shots in the book, but there are certain shots that allowed him to bat a certain way against spinners that he doesn't do anymore, which is quite concerning. Now, we go way back to 2011 when Virat Kohli scored this magnificent 100, his first 100 in the UK in an ODI match against England in England. Now something Virat Kohli did very, very well while playing against spinners was use the crease. When was the last time we saw Virat Kohli step out of his crease? But this is one such example in 2011 where he used the depth of the crease. Now what does depth of the crease basically means? Either reaching the pitch of the ball before the ball spins, or going way back, allowing the ball to spin and then smothering it the way you would want to. Depth of the crease is where the batter stands, is the crease, either going completely back or completely forward is using the depth of the crease, allowing the ball to either spin or reaching the pitch of the ball. And Virat Kohli used to do that very, very well. In fact, the number of times he used to step out to spinners and attack is a thing that was in his game, and for so many years it was a thing in his game. His strike rate for spinners was so high. Now that's the depth of the crease. The second thing is him using his wrists. As much as we praise Virat Kohli for his wrists, that's another game against spin that's almost absent. Because another example from the same innings, you can see Graham Swan bowling it almost 4th or 5th stump outside off, and he would just flick it to mid-wicket. Playing with the spin, he would just flick it. At this point, it almost feels like he's forcing himself to play with a straight bat. The game that he had with spin, where he used to use his wrist a lot, is almost gone. Another example, another perfect example of using the depth of the crease is him in 2017 against Adil Rashid. Again, one of those years where he had a fantastic year. The way he either goes front, reaches the pitch of the ball, or go back, completely back, wait for the ball to turn, and hit it where he wants to. That's another example of him using the depth of the crease. This cover drive, this classic cover drive that Virat Kohli had against spinners, it's something he doesn't do anymore. Now, I don't know why that is. He might have his own reasons. He looks to play with a straight bat more and more. But on pitches where the ball turns a lot, it is very important to use your wrist to be able to maneuver the ball, to be able to maneuver the spin. And that's what Virat Kohli doesn't do anymore. This is him using the crease, going back, and this is him using his wrist, just smothering the spin, reaching the pitch of the ball and hitting it before the ball can do anything. And that is something he doesn't do anymore, which is quite problematic. And for those of you guys who have followed Virat Kohli for a long time, from the beginning of his career, you would know that he used to play a certain shot to a spinner that would frustrate captains. This wasn't unorthodox, this was just clearly clever. And we saw this in 2019, the practice session. And for those of you who know what I'm already talking about, comment down below the kind of shot I'm talking about, but you'll see it here anyway. It's the late cut. Virat Kohli used to play the late cut to spinners all the time, almost off the keeper's gloves. And the number of times you see captains getting frustrated, bowlers getting frustrated, because it's a shot he pulls out of nowhere, gets those 4 runs or gets those doubles, and it's just one of those balls that helps him break free from the spinners. Again, one of those shots that isn't in his book anymore. Now, another argument can be made that the strike rates may be low or the averages may be low because of the passage of play he comes in to bat. It could either be to bat for a very long time or to attack from ball 1, which is why he loses wicket. But regardless, if you look at averages, strike rates, even in terms of where he batted or in the places he bats during an innings, numbers are still similar. His numbers still dip. Now, another interesting bit is it's not just Virat Kohli that's struggling against spin. It's not just his issue. I mean, it's a battle between two people. Bowlers are clever too. Bowlers have realized that the second they stop giving width to Virat Kohli, the second they stop making Virat Kohli play those cut shots or those cover drives, the second they start bowling stump to stump, Virat Kohli himself will make a mistake because he is so unsure of what to do anymore. He doesn't know whether to go back fully or to go forward fully. Also, where a lot of recent dismissals have been bowled and LBWs or edges from the middle stump to the keeper or the first slip, because he just doesn't know and is very unsure of how to use the crease. I don't know if this is a confidence thing or just the fact that the bowlers have changed the line so he doesn't know what to do anymore. I honestly don't understand what it is, but because the bowlers have started bowling quicker, which is also one of the reasons why Virat Kohli doesn't step out as much anymore, because when bowlers have started bowling quicker, batters don't get enough time to go down the wicket. But bowlers have started to bowl quicker, they've also started to bowl straighter to him, and because Virat Kohli is unsure of whether to go back or forward, he more often than not just puts his bat hoping that the ball hits his bat, but it 8 out of 10 times doesn't and either gets out LBW or gets bowled. There's been so many dismissals of him in the Border Gavaskar Trophy in the recently concluded Sri Lanka ODI series, and just examples and examples of him getting out LBW and bowled and giving a catch to first slip. But what has Virat Kohli done to counter all of this? And in the recent T20 World Cup and even in this IPL, we saw him bring out the sweep shot. Now, that is of a man thinking. Now, as much as he might have sounded arrogant in the press conference, and even I said that it might sound like someone who's insecure, he is working on it. He knows his game and he knows that there are holes in his game that he needs to fill. So he brought out the sweep shot and he started playing the sweep shot, especially the slog sweep over mid-wicket. Now, all of this is of a guy trying to improve his game. But a sweep shot, a mere sweep shot may not just be enough, especially in a test match, a long test season coming up. In a test match, you can't just be playing the sweep shot. You need a solid defense, and something that's missing from Virat Kohli's itinerary while playing spin currently is his defense. He needs to trust the crease more. He needs to use his feet a lot more than he is currently. He needs to go back 10 years before and think about what he was doing differently, how he was using his crease, and he needs to go back to that. Now, as much as he's one of the greatest batsmen this generation has seen, or even in this game, he is of a man who will be under radar, especially in tours like Bangladesh and New Zealand, and even in Australia while playing Nathan Lyon, because it will be important for a man like him batting at number 4 in Test cricket, batting at number 3 in the ODIs. It'll be important for him to just improve and to adapt his game and outsmart the bowlers that are currently outsmarting him. Thank you so much for watching. If you want more videos like this, like, share and subscribe, all that good stuff. We love putting out content. We have videos every Tuesdays and Fridays. We love talking about our cricket. Let us know what you think about this and about Virat Kohli just playing spin. If there are things that we have missed out on but you think we should have talked about, point that out in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.